I'm sorry. I forgot the ditto. See, I told you, I'm not all here yet. He's whispering, you didn't turn the ditto cam on. You didn't turn the ditto cam on. You know, I have been deaf for 10 years. So the 10-year anniversary, and people still don't treat me as they whisper. They speak into my wrong ear. You know, losing your hearing is having a hearing loss. It's the only disability that makes people mad at you. People don't get mad at people that can't see. You don't get mad at people that can't walk. You don't get mad at people that can't taste or smell anything. But you get mad at people that can't hear because you can't relate to it. You think if the person would just listen better and pay more attention that they'd be able to hear. And it doesn't work that way. You can't hear, you can't hear. And Snerdley's in there whispering. He knows I'm deaf. For every day this week, would you get closer to the microphone so I can hear you? And I'm sure he's mad at me because I don't hear him. You people have no idea. You literally have. I mean, my friends on the golf course whisper to me. Whisper. When there's nobody within 150 yards, they're still whispering to me in the wrong ear. And half the time, folks, it's really funny. My speech comprehension is when I first got this implant, it was 80%, and it's gotten worse because of the vagaries of the technology. I don't want to bore you with how it works, but I've had to turn off some of the innards because they cause facial tics when I turn the volume up. So my speech comprehension is getting worse. It's down to 50% now. And I can't tell you a number of times, like we were away not long ago, little mini weekend vacation hotel, and I didn't understand 10% of what the room service guy would say or the maid. Had no clue what they were saying. And I didn't want to take the time to tell them I can't hear, so I just said, yes, thank you. And they're looking at me like I'm an idiot. I just assume everybody's complimenting me. And I say thank you when I don't know what they're saying. It works most of the time. But when it doesn't work, you get the weirdest looks. So, anyway, despite it, really, it's the only disability where people get mad at you. And it without, anyway, my beautiful little cat, Pumpkin, is soon going to be 11 years old. And as you people have had cats know, the older they get, the needier they get. And as they get older, of course, they need more medical attention from the cat doctor, the veterinarian. We have a specialist. You ought to read the reports I get. When Pumpkin presented yesterday, but our patients are very happy with this new arthritis there. They're talking about my cat. Our patients are very happy with this. Anyway, Pumpkin's had some urinary tract problems lately. We had to send her to the vet. Has crystals forming in her bladder that make her think she has to urinate all the time when she doesn't. It's a very disheartening thing to see. A little cat thinks she has to urinate when she doesn't. So have to give her antibiotics. And we were away from home, as I told you last week, for about 5 days. And when it happens now, when I get back after being gone for 5 days, I can't shake the cat. And last night, honestly, the cat in my face on the pillow, headbutting me, demanding to be paid attention to, petted all night. In the midst of that, I'm having the craziest dream. Living in Pittsburgh, my security guy turned on me, is shooting at me. A bunch of ex-girlfriends are taking everything out of the house. It's the craziest thing. And I'm not even asleep when this is happening. I'm having an awake dream because Pumpkin is sitting there not leaving me alone. And finally, at 4:30, I said, Pumpkin, we're going to have to do something about this. So I got up and I opened the shades to make sure I would wake up. So the sun get me, because when you're deaf, you don't hear alarms. That's another thing people get mad at you about. So I got back in bed and Pumpkin is waiting for me on the pillow. Not poor Catherine. I mean, you can imagine. So anyway, that's basically it. I mean, a cat just all over me. Not wanting to be fed, just a combination of mad at me for abandoning her and wanting constant attention. It's, like I've always said, this cat's been one of the greatest. No, never. That'll just get me in trouble if I say that again now. Anyway, here's the phone number, folks. 800-282-2882 if you want to be on the program. The email address, lrushbaugh@eibnet.com. So, you got a hurricane coming. The National Hurricane Center, which is a government agency, very hopeful that the hurricane gets near Tampa. The National Hurricane Center is Obama. It's the National Weather Service, part of the Commerce Department. It's Obama. You know, well, this is the media that's all about the hurricane hitting next week, and they're not talking about Biden. They're talking about this Hurricane Isaac thing. Well, you know, we who live in South Florida become experts on our own. We don't need the National Hurricane Center, and we don't need all these weather dolts analyzing this for us. I mean, well, we need the center. We can look at their charts and graphs. We know what to do. We can read this stuff. And I've been charting or tracking the charted forecast track of the storm, and they're moving it sometimes to the east. Now the latest 11 o'clock, they moved it to the west. Now as a Cat 1 impact in Naples, Fort Myers area. This morning at 5 a.m., the impact was Miami. Now we're still not talking about till next Tuesday, so it's going to be all over the ballpark between now and then. We don't know where this thing's going to hit. The models are moving it more and more out into the Gulf. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing hits in Louisiana someplace before it's all said and done. Just kidding. Nobody knows. But they're desperately hoping. They're so desperately hoping for Tampa. The media, you know, I can see Obama sending FEMA in advance of the hurricane hitting Tampa, so that the Republican convention is nothing but a bunch of tents in Tampa, a bunch of RVs and stuff. Make it look like a disaster area before the hurricane even hits there. So anyway, for the fun of it, and I haven't done this in years, and I don't want to get anybody mad. Our TV viewing habits change as we get older. I hadn't watched the Weather Channel since NBC Comcast bought it. So I didn't know. I mean, I knew, but I didn't recall that Al Joker is now on the Weather Channel. And I thought he was strictly the Today Show. But they have Al Joker sometimes on the Weather Channel. And I tuned it in. I'm watching it. I'm thinking, do they think I am 4 years old? There's Al Joker sitting there telling me, make sure, kiddies, that you don't light a candle when the hurricane. What is it? We're a week away. Don't light candles. What are we, 4 years old out here? And yeah, that I got to thinking, local weather is that way. It snows. They send a reporter out there to stand in the drifts to tell us not to go out. And I remember, if you skid out, turn into the skid. All of these things that you learn. And then I had to stop and maybe people today aren't learning these kinds of things. Maybe a lot of the country is the equivalent of 4 or 5 years old. But it was weather for babies. I thought Al Joker should dress up in a diaper, get some apple juice in a baby bottle, and do his tropical update from a baby crib. I kid you not. Don't light candles during a heavy windstorm. Anyway, folks, do you know that Todd Aiken defied me? Yeah, if you happen to see cable news last night or the morning shows today, or if you happen to be watching CNN yesterday, Todd Aiken defied me. Oh yeah, you got to hear these sound bites. So we'll do that. We've got, what is it now? Budget analysts, the CBO, projecting a $1.1 trillion federal deficit for 2012, the fourth straight year that we have had deficits of $1 trillion or more. Fourth straight year. There's also economic news out. CBO reporting the economy could shrink as much as 0.5 percentage point, and unemployment could rise to 9% next year if the fiscal cliff hits. Taxamageddon and all the other things, which it will. You know, one of the things that I talk about on this program frequently is optimism and false optimism and being the mayor of Realville and so forth. And it's an ongoing challenge each day during times like this to be optimistic about the future of the country and to be realistic about it at the same time. Because even if Romney and Ryan win, we've got our work cut out for us. There's going to have to be some serious changes. There are going to have to be some serious changes which are going to hurt. There's no otherwise this financial implosion is going to happen. It's going to happen at some point. We're on the course for the country to go bankrupt, to financially implode. If something isn't done with the entitlements, if something is not done with all of this redistribution spending, something's going to have to happen no matter who wins the election. It's going to be tough. So this is something I think people are going to have to be hit with honestly. The question is, how honestly do you want to treat it during the campaign? And at the same time, point out that there is hope to fix this, but that it's going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to be something. It won't be magical simply by winning an election. Anyway, I get into all this in greater detail as the program unfolds. Let's take our brief first obscene profit break. We'll be back and continue with all the rest of the program right after this.